Well, hello. It is Sarah Jane from Access Your True Nature. And I have just completed the first lesson in the online trust process group, which started today and it's going to run for the next 8 weeks. And we were really just laying the groundwork today around what we're going to be training and leaning into over the next couple of months. And I just want to let you know, if you've been sitting on the fence and you've been thinking, should I join this? Should I not? Please come in. There's the most amazing group of people in this group that are kind and know that there is a different way to be in mutual regard and in do we have a conversation between ourselves and another being, and to really break this old paradigm of thinking that we need to have power over, that we need to tell our animals what to do, and when they don't, we're in this place of fear-based domination over, rather than do we have a conversation and being able to honor that. So I want to talk about the sacredness of that, and also look at this mindful regard. What is it to be mindful, as the foundation for a trusting relationship where both parties are heard and you're regarding the other person over yourself. This is not just altruism, but it's a state of selflessness where we're meeting that other being, whether it's an animal or a person, where they're at. This trust process just has such a profound effect on animals and people, but especially abused animals who don't feel safe or trust that people are safe to be around. And I mean, if you just think about it, if you'd got bitten by a pit bull, would you invite that dog onto your bed to sleep with you? Of course not. And now through the trust process, we have this beautiful tool where we can deliver peace of mind, and in the process of doing that, have that peace of and calm and presence with ourselves and our own animal bodies too. So it's a very different concept for us to work from that space of mutual regard and trusted cooperation, because we're so conditioned as human beings, especially with animals in the last century, to be fear motivators. Whether we know it or not, it's programmed into us. And I've seen, you only have to look at the horse world to see how the old school make a horse move forward. It's spurs digging in, it's hurting with a whip, it's shouting, it's pulling on the bit. And it's the same as dogs. We're so conditioned to use fear, which is not a very nice feeling and is actually the seat of judgment and abuse, where we're judging animals to be not intelligent or stupid because they don't get what we're saying. Remember, our first line of communication is never words. It's an intuitive listening, right? It's not listening through our ears, which we've become to use these sort of normal senses, not the subtle senses, but the normal senses of hearing and seeing, and then filtering it through our past experiences and our stories. So we're never really present because we're always thinking, 40,000 bits of information a year. And then we wonder why we can't hear our body singing like the canary in the coal mine, that we need to pay attention to our health or our lifestyle. But how can we expect our animal companions to hear what we're saying when we're so busy in the mind? So this is why I love the trust process, because it's simple and it's a remembering of a very ancient language that we knew. Our ancestors that were cavemen and women, before there was the word, how did they keep each other safe? They had eyes on each other. They were interconnected in a felt sense where there wasn't any word structure. And that's how I believe animals come from with us, to teach us and grow us and show us the lies and the limitations where we're harming ourselves, and also harming not only animals but nature herself. So if we hadn't learned words and we just stayed in that feeling state that nature and wild animals show us, the purity and the essence of that, And the sacredness of it too is just so fast and so advanced. We wouldn't have to use phones. We'd just intuit through that felt sense of feeling, listening, not censored listening. And I think words have really slowed us down because we feel one thing and then we say something else. And it's not very authentic. And on top of that, it's incredibly confusing for the receiver. We're emitters as much as we're receivers. And how much of that, hi Debbie, are we putting out there that our bodies are making us right about because we're not listening to our bodies? And the same applies with animals. And this is what I love about the simplicity of the trust process is it's so simple. It's just not easy because we've forgotten how to listen internally and connect heart to heart with others. So, I know that this work, it's so beautiful in its purity and its sacredness, which really is just another one of those sort of superfine concepts in life, like etiquette or reverence and respect or regard, which is really being able to listen and regard how somebody else or some other being is feeling. Hi, Phyllis. And I know that, sacredness, what's that saying? Sacredness is next to godliness. But if we're disconnected from God within, then there is no sacredness, which is, I think it comes from the Latin word. I think it's sacrare, which means holy. And we're not being whole in our being because we're disconnected through the thinking. We're not feeling anything. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the hearts. So, sacredness out there, outside of ourselves, is really about listening to our internal spaces of feeling authentic, staying in our truth, in our ceremonies, in our rituality. You see this in sacred geometry. You see this in moments of Hawkins's work with what is existence, and what I feel as a felt sense of sacredness is excuse me, is making the ordinary extraordinary, in play, in prayer, in meditation, in adoration, and also in deep silence. It's all felt from within. You can't get to a sacred place. It's about making every moment, every interaction, every relationship, every opportunity sacred, not things outside of you. And I think the part of that is in true belonging is that we're all welcome. And yet we're abandoning and rejecting the part that's saying, come home to your heart. Be with me, stay with me, listen to what I have to give you and to offer to you. And, putting that back into the sacredness of coming into a space of mutual regard, mindful regard. There's no more beautiful place to be blissed out and sacred and euphoric than in relationship that starts from mindfulness and from compassionate listening and regard to meet the person or animal or yourself there in that space of very fertile listening. And the trust process shows you how to do that. It shows you how to calm your mind by bringing your thinking down, turning the dial down, turning the volume down, turning your attention to another being then becomes selfless, because now you're not thinking anymore. You're just being present with that person. Probably most of the feedback that I've gotten from my new clients is what a beautiful safe space this was and how much they actually got out of it. And I haven't said anything except, how do you feel? And how does that make you feel? And how does that make you feel? I haven't done any talking. I've just listened. And even going out, how many times have you gone out and just listened to somebody and they feel filled up and complete because you've totally received and held them in mindful regard? And I think this is what animal intelligence teaches us, that when you are peaceful, that person or animal can be peaceful because you are peaceful. You're saying you can be peaceful and you can be calm here, no matter what noise or distractions or busyness is going on around you. And I know in America, you're going to have Independence Day very soon, which means fireworks and a whole lot of other anxiety around keeping your animals safe. So what if you could learn something like the trust process, which is the safest place that you could create for yourself and your animals? I mean, it's much safer to have your dog off leash or to ride bareback than it is to try and think you have any control over that animal. And how often have you noticed that when your dog takes the lead and he starts pulling on the lead, if you just bring yourself back into being aware of where you are in that moment, you'll probably find that you were miles away, absorbed by thoughts of worry and concern about the bills on your desk or the things that you have to do. And your animal feels that as you're not safe to be around. Oopsie, I better take the lead. And yet we see that as a bad behavior because the dog's not healed. You don't even need a leash by the time you've practiced the mindful regard of the trust process, because your animal's going, wow, I can be peaceful here. I can enjoy the walk. But it's all for us to learn how to get out of our minds, back in our bodies, and then create a state of peace and calm and presence. And it does take patience and it does take persistence, not just with yourself, because you haven't been there for yourself. You've abandoned yourself long ago, but also for your animals to go, holy crap, I don't know my person like this. She's normally crazy and all over the place and up in the air and worrying about stuff. She's never here. And it takes a bit of time for them to actually trust that when you can start to create peace and calm and you're delivering that beautiful feeling to your animal and they get that it's coming from you, what a relief it is. Thoughts are exhausting. And you can imagine if it exhausts us to be thinking all the time, our bodies can't wait for us to go to bed at night, to knock ourselves out so that they can get on with what they're good at, which is to listen to the innate intelligence of the body and balance all the body-mind systems that have gone out of sync during the day because you're thinking all the time and you're not paying attention to what your body needs. Simple things like hydration, getting enough sleep, eating live food, all of that. So I've never met a bad animal or a badly behaved animal or a naughty dog. I've seen a guilty dog because we do share that one of the most complicated emotional systems with our animals that spend a lot of time with us, that share our lives with us. So, I mean, what a gift to be able to give to yourself, and in so doing so, give to your animals, to bring their minds down because your mind is down and be peaceful. My mentor, Monty Roberts, told me that a long time ago. When your adrenaline is up, learning goes down because you can't hear when you're trying to pay attention to where you need to be in order to feel safe. So imagine if you were really emotional and you said, you got to be peaceful with this, but you're upset. You're going to say, I can't do that. I've got this and this and this to think about. And you're going to express all the reasons and justifications why you can't. It's the same with physical pain. If you're in a session and pain flares up, and I'm saying, just relax, you're going to say, no, I can't. I'm sore, it's hurting here, and I can't. So most of the time, I find that with animals, it's not that they won't. They're not doing it to spite you. They don't have a mean bone in their bodies. But if they're in pain, they can't do that. So when you come from mutual regard and you come from a listening state to say, well, show me where it hurts, that animal's going to show you where it hurts. Then you have a conversation. Then you can start to do something with it. Then you're on the path where you can understand how to calm your own mind down and deliver that feeling state to that animal that's in pain. then you have a conversation, and then you can start doing communication or hands-on energy healing. And then animals don't need the words. They need you to feel that. And I'm sure if you can sort of think back to a time in your life where you were speaking with so much compassion and emotion about something, that you could feel it in your body, feeling in the tears, or feeling in the release of anger, or feeling in just, oh my gosh, thank goodness I can surrender and just let it go. That it doesn't require journaling or meditating about it, or doing talk therapy about it. It is just the art of surrendering to let go, because you have created a state of peace and calm and safety first. Nothing else works until you return to trust. And I want you to know how to use that. So I just wanted to share about that. Amazing process. Everyone can do it. And I would love for you to join us. It's not too late. You can build a relationship of trust from peace and calm rather than fear and worry and anxiety. And when you've done those things and you're in a position to really start working with animal intelligence on a whole different level, the world opens up for you in the most magical ways, because there's mutual cooperation and there's sacredness, there's reverence in the relationship, because you're staying present. And then you get to make that present moment stronger and stronger and stronger. So you can walk around, go about your life and not be triggered, not be stressed out, because you've put the volume down on your worry control button of thinking thoughts where you think you have no control. And then you start to learn how to work with that so that you can create calm no matter how chaotic things are around you. And then your animals will thank you for doing that too. So if you want to join the trust process, it's an 8-week course. It's on a special at the moment because it's the first time that I'm actually offering this in an online forum like that, outside of my private clients and my private retreats that are in person. All the people that are in the program right now are amazing, kind, sensitive, powerful women who know that they need to use their voices and trust that their voices matter, because they care deeply about the animals and the state of the earth and the sacredness of bringing the wholeness into being. Because that's the only way we're going to change the world, is by bringing more consciousness to hurt people that are hurting animals and hurting the land. And this is the awakening. This is the quickening of this, where we need you. So if you'd like to join us, it's only $124. That is in South African rands, about 1,500 rand for 8 weeks, over 8 hours of me personally guiding you through this and teaching you how to use the trust process with confidence for you, with other people and animals. So if you're interested in joining me, just PM me and I'll send you all the details. We meet every Saturday for a 4 p.m. South African time. And if you can't make the calls live, they will all be replayed. And your playwork, your homework, your exercises will all be added to the closed Facebook group for you to have forever. And as this process evolves, as we do, any additional work that comes out of me, out of this entity of the trust process, will be available to you at no extra charge. So if that interests you, let me know. We'd love to have you in sacred ceremony, and the commitment to learn and to remember how to trust again and use the trust process for the greatest good of all, humanity, all species, all life forms, including the earth. So I hope you join me wherever you are. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And I hope to see you inside of the Trust program, 8 weeks to trusting you're enough. Your animals will be so happy you did. All right. Lots of love. Mwah. Bye.